All right, let's talk training camp. What's the best thing about NFL training camp?
Shade.
Yeah, this time of the year.
What's the second best thing? Water. Third best thing? Not being able to really tell what's going on. What's the fourth best thing? Media people talking to media people and trying to convince them. I made bets with everybody, and I'm going to make one with you today about how many snaps over under on Brock Osweiler. I want you to
for the
think
season.
About it. And I'm putting the over-under at 100. And so at one point, we want to take 1 minute, and you tell me whether he's going to get more than 100 snaps or fewer than 100 snaps. And and I'll tell you what other veteran media people have said, because you really don't sit and talk to the players. Like the old days, when I first started covering, you could stand next to Tom Jackson, and Tom Jackson, as I've told you, would say to me, "I'm going to get me a hammy today," meaning he was going to go out and pull a hamstring on purpose. He wasn't really pulling it; he just act like he was.
Best thing about training camp.
Best thing about training camp.
You're missing the obvious.
Football season is
exactly. Football season is back.
We've
only been counting the days like prisoners sitting in a cell, with the tallies on the walls. I mean, it's here.
Did you ever see The Count of Monte Cristo or read it?
I did not.
You should.
But I love the Monte Cristo sandwich. It's my favorite sandwich.
He would have loved one too. He was in prison forever, and he would mark it every day.
Yeah.
And he knew he was going to be in there forever. And the guy next to him, I'm giving it away, but it's like written 400 years ago. So if you hadn't read it,
spoiler alert on a book that's 400 years old.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, that came out about in the 1920s, the first one. He's marking it every day. He's got no life. I can mark, and he's talking to the rats and stuff. And the guy next to him actually, Abel, tunnels under there, and he gets out. He escapes. And that's kind of what today was like.
All right.
He escaped.
Now, the worst thing about training camp, you kind of touched on it. Well, one of the worst things, the heat.
Oh,
it can get toasty out there.
Even in Denver.
Yeah.
It's
well, it's in the 90s today.
90s today. There's no wind that's really coming through Dove Valley. I said there was a breeze. That was me walking back to the car that was so far away.
I'll tell you another worst about training camp. It goes too long. Because by the end of about 2 weeks of watching them every day, we're ready for the games to start. And I'm not talking preseason games. We're ready for the regular season games to start. And a lot of players are too, actually.
Yeah, and I'll tell a story on me, and you know this to be true. The one thing I miss about training camp in Greeley and Fort Collins, we got to go to the training table every day.
Yes.
You know that, for lunch and dinner.
And eat with the players and the coaaches.
And I felt like I was an offensive lineman. I go, ooh, I'll have
so much
steak.
damn food. Yeah, me too.
2 cheeseburgers, and pound some of that on there. And
well, I made sure when I went to Greeley, I took workout clothes and I ran every day. Because if I didn't, I'd have been 30 pounds heavier by the time training camp was over.
I was.
And training camp went 5 weeks at that time. I mean, it's not like 3 weeks, these days. It used to go 5 weeks. The other nice thing about training camp, when you go away, you're staying in dorm rooms, much like the players and the coaches, and you get to see everybody in the evening as well. And you can sit and have, a nice long conversation with a Gary Kubiak or a John Elway or somebody.
I'll tell you what I liked, and you are from that era. And one of the things, the advantages of watching us, we're not like the bloggers out there and the young kids that are coming. We've been around forever. Yeah. I liked it when there were like 125 guys. Because I was always looking. I always was looking for another Bob Swinson, a Steve Watson kind of guy. I was always looking at that. There's not the guys that are going to just leap out at you. Although a C.J. Anderson or Chris Harris will
undrafted free agents,
the other. You can concentrate more on the players there. Before they'd run 7 different offensive lines.
Well, they had to double up on the numbers. I called the preseason games for Channel 4, and there was a guy on offense with number 25 and a guy on defense with number 25. It was very confusing.
And maybe 3 guys on defense. Okay, well, this is 25A, 25B, and 25C, but none of the 3 will be on there. I will just give you one hint. Simeon, the quarterback out of Northwestern, that they drafted in the last round, threw up the best pass of the day. It was about a 60-yard touchdown pass. He can't do full workouts. He can't move around a lot because he's coming off an ACL. But Simeon's going to impress you when you spend some time watching.
I know he's got a strong arm.
Strongest arm.
I know that much.
Yeah. If you were
turn your
time
phone
for
off.
me to shut up.
That first segment brought to you by the Harmony Foundation.
Would you like
Colorado's
to answer my phone?
premier treatment program for drug and alcohol addiction is located just outside of Estes Park on a very private, very nice 45-acre mountain campus.
John, I can't talk to you now.
It is insurance
That's
friendly.
what I'm doing. I don't care if you're making
Visit
the trade.
Harmony Foundation.
I don't care if you're
Inc.com.
getting rid of Peyton Manning, John.